Hello, I'm Matthew Dunn,
I'm Zachary Robar.
and we are Team Weapons. We're here to talk about The World is Our Weapon. The first month, we had 4 people, and we started off with 5 different levels. The game itself was not exactly feature complete. We had no oil, no sprinklers, no elevators, none of the cool stuff you can see. And we also really didn't plan out the difficulty ramping either. So it had like a couple of easy levels and a couple of extremely hard levels. A lot of the levels at that time also looked kind of pieced together. Edges didn't always connect up.
After, one of our difficulties, like you said, was kind of like with our teammates, was that what the group was in the past, which was, it was a group of 4, but because of different time zones, personal reasons, they weren't able to attend the meetings that we needed to have. We didn't know who was doing what, and we didn't know if they needed help or not. But once the group got down to just you and me, our communication skills kind of increased. So we kind of knew what we had to do, what we needed to get done. And because we were able to communicate more directly, effectively, and efficiently, and it kind of increased the quality of our work overall.
That IPM chart, that thing came in and saved us. IPM stands for Introduction, Practice, and Master, and it really stretched out how many levels we had, in all honesty. It was able to do that by helping us plan out what order we wanted to release certain features and what levels we wanted to introduce them. Like, we would hold off introducing water until level 2, introduce buttons early on, but not introduce complex things like enemies and fans and such like that until later. It helped us organize what we wanted to do. And through that organization, we were able to see big gaps where new features weren't being implemented. On the other hand, we also were able to completely see, oh, there's levels where we introduced way too many features. Players going to have to learn how to tackle enemies, how to use them to activate switches. So that really helped us.
Yeah, it helped us have a layout of what each level should have in it and what the player should be doing there, just solely on what mechanics we've had. Because that's how the chart is. A list of every mechanic we have and when it's introduced, the period of when it's practiced, and when they should have mastered it. So it really helped us not only, figure out like, what the player is probably comfortable in doing, but also help us figure out how the levels should be laid out.
In addition to how the levels were laid out, I felt like another thing that really helped us besides the IPM was that we had to kind of go out of our way to learn new things. I mean, originally we wanted to just stick to level design and coding, right?
Yeah, but once we were down to like 2 people, and something that we should have realized when it was just 4 people was that we can't specialize in just program and just level design stuff. We had to expand our capabilities and learn new skills. Like one of the new skills that I've learned while doing this was light mapping, something that falls in kind of like the art category, and I never thought I would go into the art category. And what light mapping is pretty much helping define shadows and light to a level, like colored light as well, and mixing of different colored lights. It's hard to imagine until you actually implement it how much life light can actually bring to a level, how much depth and personality it can bring. And even though light mapping was a little bit difficult to understand at first, it was something that we really needed.
I've had a little bit of experience with audio before, but nothing to the scale of this project. I mean, we had to add in quite a few sounds to this game to make it feel nice and juicy. Like such as a door's opening and closing on time, we'd have to hook that up with a sound that really did sound like a door that's squealing and stuff like that. Or when you fire something, I wanted to make sure that when you fired something such as a slingshot, it sounded nice and crisp and it didn't sound the same every time. Working with audio, it really pushed me to go out of my way to figure out, oh, what kind of sounds can I add that are actually good and not just thrown in there.
It's amazing, just like with light, how much life audio can bring to a level.
What I really love, what I really took pride in, I love what I've done with the enemies. With the enemies, normally they kind of go around on their little set path, but if you shoot them, they get all enraged and everything. They get all puffed up, and then they chase the player down. And because we can get the enemy to chase the player, that gave us a lot of new things we could do, such as making traps or leading the enemy into specific elements. I feel like the way the enemy was set up, it enhances the game itself, and it can put a little bit of fear into the player, maybe force them to think on their toes.
And be more cautious. Programming was the focus I wanted to want. In fact, a little backstory, I've encountered like programming when I was like still in high school, and that's what really inspired me to go fully in depth in this field, but I'm really proud of the program I'm doing this. I might have coded like almost everything in here except for like maybe some of the player stuff, and I'm just really proud of how it works. I mean, able to write a script to have the doors open when a switch is fired, or even have the water become electrified when it hits a power source, and using that to power other things, which it's this whole domino effect. Like, you have the water that spreads out and it gets powered by a generator that has power, and then it travels through the water to power a fuse box, which opens a door. All that is powered by a program, and I believe all of that was code that I wrote. And I'm just really proud to see like what I made actually function the way I wanted. Anything that I've programmed myself, I'm always proud to see work. And if something goes wrong, I'm sure Matt can also testify this, I jump right on it to fix the problem as soon as I can.
I believe you kind of started the foundation for the water sprayer, gave me something to work with, which, again, thank you for that. Now, what I enjoyed with the water spray is I believe I made it so the player can tell exactly where they're firing the water, what kind of element they're firing, whether or not they can fire the water. I also added a lot of the particle effects and such for the water sprayer as well.
I really like the appearance of that. That was job well done.
Absolutely, but it was a bit of a pain hooking that up with audio files, but I got it all done, and as you can see for yourself, it's one of the most enjoyable parts of the game. Like, from a lot of the play testing, players have basically said how fun it is just to fire the water sprayer around, not even having to do anything with it, just spraying it all over the place. They love it.
Yeah, and since that's like one of the main parts of the game, it's good to have like the main mechanic be something visually pleasing to use repetitively.
I thought a lot of the advice I gave through tooltips was decent, but apparently it was either too verbose or people would just kind of walk through it. They'd ignore them and then complain later on, oh, I didn't know what to do. So it's one of those... It's just a pain for multiple reasons. I think that's typical with any game. You'll see that players will try to bypass hints that are given to them, and then they'll get lost. We learn to definitely work as a small team. And when you work as a small team, that reduces the amount of communication you need to do.
We've learned that you can't specialize in a field. Like, I can't specialize in programming, he can't specialize in like model design. We've learned that even in a team of 2 like us, or even in a team of 4, that it's good to have skills in every field. Like, even though I want to be a programmer, it's good to know some art things, because it's good to have a backup plan. And sometimes if someone can't do their job, someone else has to pitch in.
Research, research, research. Whatever you do when you design a game, I don't care what it is. Chances are there is someone out there that has done the exact same thing and they've done it better. So the best thing you can do for yourself, you go out there, you find out how they did it.
It's not so much like someone has probably done it better, but it's more like if you don't know how to do it, there's someone who probably has done it.
Yeah.
And kind of use what they've done as inspiration, because like, oh, they use this type of code for this thing, and I just use it as inspiration to help kind of like get the motors going.
I would like to thank our sound designer, Sterling Bond. I love what he's done. It's always good to work with other people who know more about what they're doing than you do. Anyway, I would like to kind of close out here. I hope you guys take to heart what we've kind of presented, get an idea of what kind of stuff we've gone through. But with what we've produced, I'm absolutely confident that our game is going to serve for a launch pad for our future endeavors. But until that day comes, you guys are going to have to hold tight. And until then, see ya.